Hello everyone, this is Juan from Juan's Garage, and this is your garage tip of the day. So today we're going to change the oil on the 2017 Ford Explorer 4x4, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. This is the way I do it, and it works out pretty easy. You really don't have to have anything special, but you can see as I got there 6-foot 2x4s on each side of the wheels. Just set them up and drive your car up on it. Okay, open the hood, let it cool down for a few minutes or a few hours if it's been running, because the oil will be very hot when you go to drain it. Now, one thing I do is I'll come up here and I'll kind of log my last mileage. So, and it's also a hint, you need a 15mm drain plug for the oil. It takes 6 quarts of oil, right, 5W20, and you torque the drain plug at 20 foot-pounds, okay? For the transmission, it takes Mercon LV, approximately 5 quarts, 11mm socket, and the oil filter I forgot to mention is I use Fram. I like Fram because they've got that gripper on the end of it. Makes it easier to take off. Anyway, it's a 10575 filter, okay? So this is the current mileage. Write down the mileage of your last oil change. And that's how it goes. All right, so it really helps to have a spotlight. And I'll go through what you're gonna need, okay? For both oil, this guy here, he's a 16-quart container. And I'm going to use him because he's got a nice big catch basin. You can get all the oil. It seals nicely here up on top and so forth, okay? So for the transmission fluid for Fords, look up your particular model and make sure you're using the right stuff. This multi-vehicle stuff includes the Mercon LV. Oh, wait a minute, let's see. I want to use that one. Here. This guy here includes the Mercon LV that I'm going to need. And it needs approximately 5 quarts, so it's 4 quarts plus 1 more quart here, Mercon LV. Okay, this other stuff might be for my son's car. Anyway, the engine oil is 5W20. You need approximately 6 quarts of that. Now the tools you're gonna need, I use a 3/8 inch drive, 15mm socket for the engine oil drain pan, 11mm socket for the transmission cavity drain plug. Okay, you're gonna need the 76mm filter, oil filter wrench, and you're gonna need your torque wrench here, and you set that, it's hard to see, but it's at 20 foot-pounds, okay? That's what they prescribe. Here's the oil filter, okay? And you're gonna need your, all of those things. Can't remember what they're called right now. I'll get back to that. Anyway, I'm also gonna change the cabin filter, and every oil change, I put a bottle of this stuff in there, full tank of gas. That may or may not help. Today's gas has detergents and cleaners, so you really don't need that. Now these 2 little buckets here, you want it when you drain your transmission oil, you want to measure exactly how much you take out, and you put the exact amount back in, okay? That's how you do that, all right? Yeah, I couldn't think of the name, but yeah, you get your funnel for the oil, and your flexible funnel with a long hose on it for your transmission fluid, okay? And as always, plenty of shop towels. All right, so once again, you drive the car up on the 2x4s. It gives you enough room, enough clearance. If you take some cardboard here and lay it down, that's all you really need. All right, so I'm gonna go underneath and we'll get to the drain plug, remove that, and start the process. I forgot to mention that you can loosen this guy here up. So that the engine will breathe and just maybe drain the oil quicker, faster. So remember to lift the little breather tab here so that as the tray starts to fill up, the air can exhaust and the oil will go into the collection pan without overflowing. Okay, from the front of the car, you're gonna climb underneath and you'll see the engine oil filter here. This big cavity looking thing is your engine oil pan, and on the back side of it is the drain plug. So get your oil pan collector here in position, take the plug out of it so that it drains in nicely. Set your ratchet now. It's going to be righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, okay? Now, if it's the first time you've done it, and the factory has done it or the shop has done it, chances are they really over-torque that drain plug. So you might have to get a cheater bar to break it loose or really put some force on it, okay? So I'm gonna have to crawl under there and get that going. But loosen it up by hand. You can keep your bucket away or your drain pan away. And as soon as you get it where you can take it off by hand, you'll see it begin to drip and you can pull your pan into position so that you don't have your wrench in the way, okay? And I'll show you how I do that. Okay, so I broke it loose by hand, and now, or I broke loose with a wrench. Now I'm going to take it off by hand here. Kind of shaking a little bit here. But I got my pan here in position. Always keep a couple paper towels handy, so in case you start making a mess, you clean it up right away and you don't get your garage floor all full of oil. Once again, let the car engine cool down. And here it goes. Ready, set. Start to drip. And try not to drop the drain plug. There it goes, okay? I got it, okay. So I take the drain plug and wipe it off and inspect it, okay? A bit of oil there. Alrighty, there we go. See if I can turn this off. Also, something to take note of is the color of the oil. You see how dark that is? Yeah, that's ready to be changed out, okay? So, here we go. Okay, so now the oil is just barely trickling out. You can give it a little more time if you want to. And as soon as it's down to a small trickle, go ahead and insert the drain plug back in and then wipe around it, okay? Okay, now that it's slowly dripping good enough, I'm gonna put the drain plug back in. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and make sure you don't cross-thread it, okay? Here we go. Okay, so once you're ready to tighten it up, get your torque wrench set up, right? You put your socket on your torque wrench. You got it set for 20 foot-pounds that we really can't see right now. And the drain plug is hand-tight. And even hand tight, it's not going to leak any oil anymore, okay? That drain plug should go on freely, pretty smooth. You shouldn't have to really fight it. If you do, you have damaged threads or you cross-threaded it. Okay, so I'm going to put the torque wrench on there, and it's very simple. You put the torque wrench on here, and you turn it, and when you hear it click, then that means you've got 20 foot-pounds on there. Okay, so I got the torque wrench. I'm going to see if I can get it close enough you can hear it click, okay? You see that? It doesn't turn anymore, but the neck of it clicks. Okay, then you know you got 20 foot-pounds, and that's good enough. Okay, next we take off the oil filter, which is right here. Once again, get your catch pan in position. Okay, and get your filter wrench on your ratchet here, and once again it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You break it loose, and this guy shouldn't be on very tight. gorilla put this thing on. All right, I'm gonna need 2 hands. Okay, so once you break it loose, you can undo it by hand. Now, this thing will make a little bit of a mess as it comes down. You see how it starts to drip there? Just let it drip out for a while. If you keep turning it, it's gonna get oil all over the place. So once it starts dripping oil, let it drip a while. And then go ahead and turn it and take it out. I'm gonna put the phone down again for a minute. Okay, once you have the filter out, just go ahead and invert it into your oil catch pan here. And you see up in here is where it screws into. Take a paper towel, wipe it really good. What you also want to make sure is that the O-ring from the oil filter didn't stay stuck on there. If it is, when you put your new oil filter, it's not going to seal properly, okay? So now we're going to take a little bit of this oil, put it on our finger, and we're going to address the seal of the new oil filter. Let's see if I can show you that. Okay, so you see the O-ring here, it looks very dry, okay? Now, so that it doesn't stick up on the engine and it makes it easier to take off, and the old guys always, you know, said that's the way you do it. So just take a little bit of the oil from your oil pan here on your finger. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. And then you just run your finger across the top of the seal and you get it a little moist. And that's what we call dressing the oil filter, or dressing the seal. All right, get the oil off your hands. And use these little shop towels, they're really good. All right, now your hands are kind of cleaned up a little. Now go up here, once again, you're gonna insert it and don't cross thread it. You should kind of center up nicely by itself. And you should be able to turn this thing freely. See how it's kind of hanging? Now once it touches, you're going to turn it 3/4, okay? So right about there you feel it touch. Now I'm going to get a Sharpie, I'm going to mark it, and then I'm going to go 3/4 more, okay? Here we go. Okay, so there's my mark. Now I'm going to rotate it until it's right about here, okay? This is facing the front of the car, so right over here at this point is where my mark should be. I can snug up my hand, and at a certain point, I'm probably going to need the wrench. Or maybe not. Anyway, they say 3/4 to 1 full turn. There, it's pretty freaking snug, so I'll get the wrench and I'll snug it just a little more, okay? Okay, now I almost gave it a full turn, so it's between 3/4 and a full turn. But that's all you need. It's snug enough. And now it's time to put the oil back in. Okay, let's see if I can do this without making a big mess here. Okay, but you see how nice and clear and clean that oil is? That's what your oil looks like when it's brand new. After it's been running your engine for a while, due to the blow-by and the exhaust and the combustion, your oil will get dirty, okay? Anyway, so once again, this is 6 quarts of 5W20. And yeah, now I usually put a paper towel there just in case I make a mess. Okay, now that we got the oil filled in, 6 quarts, put the cap back on, wipe it up nicely. Now we're gonna check the oil level, okay? Now what I forgot to mention was, it's always good before you change your oil, take a reading and see how dirty your oil is, but also how much oil your engine is burning. You can do that by taking this out. And so like at 5,000 miles, I had checked it just prior to this, and I showed about 1 quart or half a quart low. It was still within the acceptable range, but as you can see here between the dots, it's kind of hard to catch that, but okay. So I'll have to wipe it off. And I'll pull it off, see if I can't get a better reading on this. Okay, am I recording? Okay, bingo, so there it is. You see the oil there, right? And if you climb up a little, it's dry here, okay? So we're right at about the upper hole. There's two little holes. The upper hole, and that's going to be your full mark, just a little mark above that. So we're good. Now don't worry, if you overfill it a little, it's going to be okay. You don't have to worry about draining it. But that's what it looks like new. So when you change it again, take your dipstick out, measure it, see where you're at, and that'll kind of give you an idea about the health of your engine and how it's burning oil. Like I say, about half a quart or less for 5,000 miles for me is really good. So that concludes the part where we change the engine oil. Now remember, the oil on the dipstick read a little higher because that small amount has not gone into the filter necessarily. There might be air trapped in the filter, so the filter may not be filled completely. That'll fill eventually when you start the engine. But otherwise, it's all good. Now the next part is we're going to move on to draining partially the transmission fluid. Okay, so now we're going to drain some of the transmission oil. As I understand, I think these trannies actually carry about 11 or 12 quarts. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But you won't drain the entire transmission. You're only going to drain about 5 quarts, maybe a little more out of these, 5 to 6 quarts. But what you need is you need these 2 buckets, right? As soon as you take this plug off here, okay, so from the front of the engine, you come over here and you see it's this guy right here, okay? He's at 11 millimeter socket. Now notice there's a gap there. This plug is not buried all the way in. It's not turned all the way in. There's maybe like maybe a 16th, maybe 3/16, maybe a little more than an eighth, right? 3/16.
How's it going over
It's going great. And so when you put it back, leave a little bit of room, okay? Just approximately where it's at. It's not going to drain, but that's all you need, okay? So I'm going to take it off, drain this. Once again, when this bucket fills up to 4 quarts, I'm going to put my finger on it, and I'm going to get the other bucket, move it in place, and it'll fill the other bucket with the remaining transmission fluid that's going to drain, okay? So here we go. Okay, so there we go. There's 4 quarts in this one, and it looks to be about a little over 1.5 quarts in that one. And as you can see, we're just kind of dripping just a tiny bit, so I'm going to put the screw back in, and then we'll move on to fill it, okay? So that's how much we're going to put back in. We're going to put back the same amount that we took out, okay? Okay, so I have the transmission oil drain plug back in, and remember, it doesn't bottom out. There's a little gap, maybe an 1/8 or 3/16. You'll feel it snug up, and it won't drain anymore. Okay, after you refill it, you can check for drainage, and if you need to, tighten it up a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to take, so it's 4 or 5, it's about 5.5 quarts there we're going to put back, okay? Okay, next part of the job is to refill the transmission oil or transmission fluid. So here in the engine compartment, you're going to see the breather box, and down below here is the oil, transmission oil cap. So you got to reach in there. If you need to, take this guy and clip him, take him off, give you some more room. Otherwise, if you have a slender arm, you can reach in there and take that out. Okay, so I'm going to do that next. Okay, so once you take the transmission oil filler cap out, this is what it looks like. And once again, it has a fill indicator. The thing is, you can't really check this unless the transmission is hot and the engine is running, okay? So we're not going to do that, but because we know exactly how much we took out, we're gonna fill it up, and at a later time, when you remember, after you've run the car out for 15-20 minutes, you can bring it back home, and like I say, while it's running, check the level of this guy, okay? And it should be there between those serrated marks. So what you need now is a funnel with a flexible tube. I keep mine in here because it doesn't all come out and it eventually drains into the bag. It just keeps it cleaner. So I'll take that out, put it in, and I'll add the transmission oil or fluid. Okay, I wanted to show you guys that the transmission fluid is actually red. So you remember the color that looked like when I took it out, it looked kind of reddish brown. Well, that's because it was dirty. And I think that, and it's just a personal thing, after your vehicle gets like 50,000 miles on it, maybe every second or third oil change, drain and fill the transmission fluid. It'll keep your transmission shifting smooth and should make it last longer, And this stuff isn't that expensive. If you do it yourself, maybe less than 30 bucks or whatever, but it'll keep your transmission shifting smoothly and it'll last a whole lot longer. People that have transmission problems, it's very rarely is it the manufacturer issue. The issue is that they never change their transmission fluid. So if you do this on a regular basis, your car will last a lot longer. It'll drive more trouble-free, and you'll feel it. After you've changed, filled and drained and filled the transmission fluid, you'll feel your transmission shifting quite smoother. Okay, now if you see down below, we have the transmission oil fill cap back on, wiped it down a little bit, and now we start the engine. And while you have your foot on the brake, shift it through all of the gears, right? From park to reverse to neutral to the first gear and second gear, and then do that pausing every 30 seconds, and that way all the fluid can get through all the cylinders and all the gear shifters in the transmission. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Once again, thank you all for watching. I hope you learned something. There's more than one way to do this. This is the way I like to do it, and it works out real well. It's a cheap, easy way to maintain your vehicle, and it'll last you a whole long time. Once again, make notes of what you need. Makes the job easier. Keep it clean. Use a lot of towels, and so after you start your car, look underneath, make sure there isn't any drips or drains, and you should be all right. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I'm going to install the air filter later. There's other videos for how to do that. After I fill up the tank, I'm going to add the fuel system cleaner, and that'll be it. All right, guys, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you around.